As an old player who has found himself returning to the game and enjoying it again, I have been on a journey reliving, reacting, and taking a look at any new cards that I didn't know about during my time from the game, either that or cards that I forgot about. Today, we're going to be talking about the Battlewasp archetype. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. I don't know if you just saw what I did there. Okay, my camera probably didn't pick it up. I was like, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels, and then I just punched my desk. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm not familiar with any cards from this archetype, but we're going to be talking about Battlewasp Arbalist the Rapid Fire. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 3 or lower insect monster in your graveyard, special summon that monster in defense position. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon one Battlewasp monster from your hand or your deck. You can only use this effect once per turn, okay? So, I like the fact that you can just, I would imagine that, I don't know if it has, usually if it's like a level 3 or lower monster from the graveyard, it's probably going to be a tuner. I don't know when these cards came out, but if it's level 3, I would imagine it's used for synchros, but of course, it's also good that if it gets destroyed, you get to recycle another Battlewasp, but that's only the first card that we're taking a look at, so I don't know exactly what you can do, and like I said, probably for synchros. That's a cool looking card, honestly. Battlewasp Azua the Ghost Bow. Okay. When your opponent takes the effect damage from another Battlewasp monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of that monster. You can only use this effect once per turn. When a monster is destroyed by battle with your Battlewasp monster, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position, but banish it when it leaves the field. I love that. I think it has a nice strong effect, and I like the fact that you can recycle it one more time. A problem that I have with the modern game is how indestructible a lot of cards are. I like cards like this that are powerful but balanced. You can reuse it pretty well one time. It has a solid effect. It's an okay monster. I think it's good, man. We also have Dart the Hunter. When your Battlewasp monster destroys a monster by battle that is owned by your opponent, you can discard this card and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that destroyed monster's original attack. You can target one other insect monster you control. It is treated as a tuner this turn. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck the rest of this turn except insects. Okay, I can see that being pretty helpful. This deck is probably going to obviously benefit from a burn mechanic, especially with the synchro that we just took a look at. I don't know how effective it would be. I've never really heard of anybody having success with a Battlewasp deck. But what is helpful is that while some of the effects seem to be restricted so far to Battlewasp cards, I like the fact it's like special summon an insect, so that opens the door for some other cards. I don't know if you can put Zectors into it, but regardless, we also have Halberd the Charge. Once per turn, once per battle, during damage calculation, if this card attacks an opponent's monster with an equal or higher attack, this is a quick effect, you can half the attack of that opponent's monster during damage calculation only. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Battlewasp monster you control. It seems like these cards are pretty good, but I don't know about the format of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! If we're talking about like somewhere around maybe the hat format, then I can see this being a little bit better depending on what support it also has with it. But so far, so good for some of these cards. We have another synchro over here. If this card was synchro summoned using a synchro monster as a material, it can make it a second attack during each battle phase. You can only use each effect once per turn. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can make all monsters your opponent controls currently lose 1,000 attack and defense. At the end of the battle phase, if your opponent has not taken any battle damage this phase, you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Battlewasp monster in your graveyard, for each one in your graveyard, and it's not even just with different names too. I feel like the burn effect could really stack up pretty well, especially like, it's not like a regular burn deck where these cards have no attack points. You could also use attacking with this monster, and I like the fact that you can half opponent's attack too, playing with that. Mix that in with Burden the Mighty. Has some potential, man. If this card is synchro summon, you can treat it as a tuner. Once per turn, you can return one continuous spell you control to the hand, which I'm guessing is one that we're going to be taking a look at. You can normal summon one Battlewasp monster during your main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summon is set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, you can inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each of your banished Battlewasp monsters. I don't imagine that you're going to have a ton of banished Battlewasp monsters unless there's another card that we take a look at over here. But honestly, I think this one's just okay, depending on what our continuous spell does. This one's probably the weakest card that we've taken a look at so far, okay? We have another little monster, Sting the Poison. If this card is normal or special summon, which, by the way, I like that these are like armor bugs. I think bugs are gross, but I think it's cool what they did over here, okay? You can add one Battlewasp monster from your deck to your hand, except Battlewasp Sting the Poison. Quick effect. You contribute one other insect monster, then target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. I think it's just okay. Actually, the special summon effect is definitely the best one. but I don't know how well this would work. Maybe like one copy of it if it goes to the graveyard, that can be a little bit more helpful. Okay, so we have Battlewasp Nest, the continuous trap card. When your Battlewasp monster is targeted for an attack, special summon one Battlewasp monster from your hand or deck, and if you do, place one counter on this card. Then end the battle phase. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card has 2 more counters, I'll send it to the graveyard. Okay, I thought the counters were going to have a good card. It's a fair balanced card, to be honest with you, and I love the idea that you can just end the battle phase, special summon a Battlewasp monster from your deck. That's a good card. I would imagine that you would run 3 of these bad boys, okay? We also have Revival Swarm. Target one Battlewasp monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one insect monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects until the end of the turn. It's just a monster reborn. Like I said, this is probably going to be good in like previous formats of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if that's the case, then you can just throw 3 of these on there, and then you have your monster reborn. So I like that card. I think it's good as well. We also have Summoning Swarm. Target level 4 or lower Battlewasp monsters in your graveyard, up to the number of monsters your opponent controls. Special summon them. You can only activate one Summoning Swarm once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this card, except insect cards. Wow, this deck has a lot of power from the graveyard, eh? Maybe then we do need that, what was it, the little dart guy? The one that has an effect when it's special summoned from the graveyard. Maybe we could have another copy of that in the deck. We also have Armed Rebellion. Special summon one insect monster with 1,000 or less attack from your hand or deck. Then, if you special summon from the deck, send one monster you control to the graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon the rest of this turn after this card resolves, except insect monsters. If a face-up synchro monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card, add one Summoning Swarm from your deck to your hand. I would imagine that would be another good card. I like the fact that you constantly get cards special summoned from the deck. Now, when I was gathering these cards for these videos, I did see that there's some stuff from the anime show that haven't been introduced, so I don't know if we're going to get more support for this type of thing. I don't know when it came out, if this was yours and they just ended up abandoning it. Who knows? Regardless, if you want to learn more modern Yu-Gi-Oh! With me, then why don't you check out the video that we did on the brand new Yu-Bell cards. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, everybody.